clock's been moved. I'd like to call the August 19th public hearing to order. The time now is 7:22. Let the record show at 6:30 we held a site walk for Lakeview Drive Estate subdivision off of Logan Circle. The members of the board that are present tonight were also at the site walk. There was no members of the public, and the applicant was also not there. We left there, came directly here, and now we're holding the public hearing. I'd like to have Steve come up, give a quick brief overview of the project.
We have a vote to open the public hearing.
No, because it's on the agenda for the public hearing. Is that a...
You actually should open it.
All right.
As Doug has suggested. It's a formality, sort of legal formality.
Okay.
The only way you can close it.
All right. It's like a motion to, we're going to go to a public hearing. I'll take a motion to have the public hearing.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
All right. Motion moved, motion second. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, all those in favor? All those present, it's unanimous. We'll now open up our public hearing. Steve, if you'd step forward, please.
Okay, the last meeting that we held, there were a couple of issues that came up. Does everybody have a copy of the latest checklist that
Checklist.
Tom developed?
Steve, may I just...
Yep, sure.
I have another checklist, however, it's the final plan checklist, so I don't know if the board wants to go through its preliminary checklist or its final checklist.
All right, I get
I
the...
do have them both, Mr. Chairman, just so you'll know, and I have them ready to pass out. I've gone through the final
Yeah, if
plan.
you could pass them out, that way we'd have them in front of us.
Okay.
I've got the last notes from the last one.
What I try to do is, each time I hand out the checklist, I'll highlight, like the one you have there is preliminary, final,
Okay.
just so that it's easier to follow. Doug, Judy.
All right, now we have the checklist in front of us.
Okay. Are you going to, do you propose to go through each item on the checklist, or should I just...
I'd like to do just the ones that are outstanding.
Okay. Let's see. I guess the first one would be item number 4, where it
Correct.
said insufficient data, which was meets and bounds along the road line.
Yes.
And I was, Tim and I discussed that a little bit at the last meeting. I decided to leave the original street line on there because it is part of the survey that I used to develop this subdivision, which is a subdivision done by Survey Inc. I don't understand where that line came from, and I didn't end up putting meets and bounds on it, but I did put a tie line from the corner pin on the north side to the corner pin on the south side. And I thought as long as the plan was referenced, somebody could go to the plan if they needed to know what the actual numbers were along Logan Circle. But you see where I'm saying?
All I have is the tie line, 173 feet. Is that what you're talking, Steve? Right?
Correct.
This one right here.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
happen.
And that gives you a mathematical closure around the perimeter of the property.
Yep.
Tie lines are used commonly on shorelines and things with kind of nebulous boundaries. And we had talked about me fitting a curve in there, and I was thinking about it, and I said, no, I'm gonna leave the original line the way it was, but I just don't know where it came from. So I'm showing it just so somebody in the future can understand that that's in fact what I used, but I did not put the meets and bounds.
Because, yeah, those markers are already...
They're in the
They're
ground now.
set.
That's right.
Okay. The next one down was number 5, same thing. Length of all straight lines, deflection angles, curves, tangents. we walked it, looked like you pretty much had a straight line going in, no curve on the road, no road, I mean, there's no, on this drawing, there's no road, curve data.
You mean along Logan Circle or on the?
No, on the right-of-way.
Right away.
No, there are no curves. It's all tangents and it's all marked with meets and bounds.
Okay.
Number 9, which Tom pointed out to me about the name of the road. And I called Roger today because I know that we had talked about it earlier, and he wanted to call it Lakeside Drive. Because Lakeview Drive, there's already a Lakeview Drive in Lake Arrowhead.
Yeah.
So I said, you can't use that. And I know that we need to officially address that with Patty, and I guess the selectmen have the final word on
I
it.
think it goes to Matt first.
Oh, it goes to Matt, okay,
Like
whatever
last-
the
everything else
process
seemed to pass from
is.
the Matt and the fire department first, and then,
Matt and Patty.
Yeah.
So,
But if that in fact gets approved, then the name of the road will be Lakeside Drive.
Okay. Will you change the
And-
name
and
of the
that-
estate then? Will they-
No, the name of the plan will remain the same.
Okay.
But Lakeside Drive will be the
You
name.
see where I'm going on that,
Oh, yeah, I know, it's a little confusing, but,
Okay. Next thing down, that's an outstanding thing, is a board decision.
Mhm.
May require the developer to provide space for future municipal use according to the comprehensive plan on a reimbursable basis with a 5-year option, after which the space may be sold for other development. We can discuss that as it comes up as part of the regular hearing section. This is just a public hearing method,
okay.
so instead of the board decision on that. Next one down is the drainage easement.
Mhm.
Is that something that's been addressed?
That, yes, well, what I did is I proposed to have Roger install check dams at no greater distance than 50 feet along that ditch that's running along the side of the existing
Okay. And that's
road
shown.
going in.
yep.
However, Tom pointed out that the ditch does not fall entirely within the right-of-way. It's about at the worst section, it's about in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 10-foot drainage easement on the southeast side of lot number 1. That will show up on the final plan.
Okay.
And that will cover that ditch and any stone check dams that go in there.
Be on the right-hand side going down?
That'll be well, you see where I've got large aggregate check dams to be installed, where those little arrows
yeah,
go?
okay,
So
yeah, right outside
that
the road
symbol
going down, yeah.
There'll be a 10-foot easement along that side of Lot 1, just to make sure that everything falls within that easement for the stormwater drainage.
And he hasn't done that yet.
He has not put
Okay.
he has not installed the check dams, and I will be putting the 10-foot drainage easement on the final plan, just to make sure we're covered on that.
All right, the next thing on the checklist was for every 5 houses, developer provide one acceptable form of fire protection. We do have a letter from the fire chief. We can address that as we get into the regular section. As I said, this is just the public hearing part. Just trying to get a clarification on it. Number 6, cul-de-sac length. We have exceeded the 600-foot length, and a hammerhead needs to be shown or something like that, which is also in the chief's letter.
Correct, and I met with the chief today. When the chief went out and met with Roger out there, he didn't have one of these plans in his hand, so Roger was trying to explain to him what we proposed to do. I went to the chief today, gave him a copy of the plan, explained what we were going to do for a turnaround. We're going to keep it all within the 50-foot right-of-way, and that dark area right on at the angle of the 50-foot right-of-way that's all going to be gravelled. So it's going to be It's going to be about 35 feet deep, close to 40 feet, and it's going to be about 35 feet in width as it comes off that driveway. And he
So
said
that's in
that should
effect your
plenty.
hammerhead you're doing.
That's the hammerhead, and he
Which
said
is-
that would be fine.
Basically what we're talking about, Doug.
Right now, we'll go to the discussion about that a little bit. I just want to make sure that's shown on here.
Yep.
Intent for pavement, or is leaving it as a gravel road?
Gravel road.
Okay. Side slopes noted on here need some slight remedial grading. Is the intention of this to stay a private road
I believe so, yes.
for right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And that pretty much takes care of the checklist. Are you here for the public hearing on this?
Yes.
Okay.
About us.
Okay.
I'd like to know what the proposal, what they're gonna do with the drainage. Can we have one of them with the
Sure.
proposal?
Are you the Berghorns?
Pardon?
Are you the Berghorns?
No, is this a different property, Dad?
No, that's the same one. We're down below on
On the
the
lakeside.
lakeside.
On the lakeside, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have an extra copy of that?
Here,
We're the one
yeah,
that's getting
here,
all the
I'll get-
runoffs.
I got one, Tom.
Yeah, you missed that part. There was, we'll let Steve re-explain that.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
What I was explaining to the board is that down on the ditch that's on the northerly side of the existing driveway,
Yeah,
he's going to install check dams every 50 feet. And if that does not curtail, if there's a big rain event in the future and the check dams do not curtail the storm water from coming down and crossing Logan Circle, then he will install a sedimentation basin at the bottom and have it rip-wrapped. And he told me that he was up there on, I think he said the 31st of July and took pictures. I guess we had a pretty good rain event.
Yeah.
And he said he's got the pictures, and he said it really didn't.
But my concern is the winter melting. That's where we had a lot of the problem, is that once the snow started melting, we had snow pushed over on both sides of the driveway. Both sides were melting. One was going down this side of my camp into the lake, and the other was coming on the other side. So I had runoff on both sides. So it was coming,
Are you sure it was coming down from this?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then maybe he will have to put that sedimentation. Maybe if it's coming down both sides, I mean, it's pretty well graded to drain to the northwest. You said that there was there stormwater or melt water coming down on the south side?
it wasn't going into the ditch, it was traveling on where the two tire tracks are normally used, up and down all the time. Because you see a lot of stones sticking up there, that means the sand gone down into the lake, so there was some runoff. Because dead winter, where they use it a lot, it's, disturbing what's the fine surface on there melting in the spring. And that's what we're concerned about.
The rainwater right now goes south side, but when I have melting, from all the snow and everything, it's both north and south.
So it's just sheet flowing down off the road because
Right.
there's,
Right.
Well, the other part too, that part of Logan Circle, which is still a little higher beyond us a little bit, you still get the runoff from that.
right, well, Roger was saying that whole area is a
Because for
problem.
years and years, every time they graded it, they were, graded it opposite.
Yeah,
The pitch would be away from the lake,
Right.
hoping that we didn't get it all,
right. Well, I mean, I don't think it's Roger's responsibility to fix the drainage
No, no,
of the
no, no,
existing
no, I know.
circle. I mean,
No.
but anything that's coming from this new road, he's certainly willing to
Yeah.
do whatever it takes.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
And that's,
Could I ask you to sign in, just so we have your record for you?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Thank you. Do you have anything else? Is the members of the public, are you all,
Well, fine.
okay?
I just wanted to know what the plan was to take care of this.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Does anybody, members of the board, that want to talk now during the public hearing? Just a reminder, this is also on the agenda for discussion. Okay.
Well, if we got questions, should we just address them so they're on the record for the public hearing, or should we wait until later?
Your choice.
Well, I've got a lot of questions.
That's what I heard.
I don't see anywhere on here where you needing over additional width to Logan Circle, or holding the property line back so that it will, Logan Circle, for the distance that Mr. Lozier owns, will become a 50-foot right-of-way for future improvements. That should be a definitely requirement. The grade of the road's more than 10%, which violates our road ordinance. It only can be 3% for the first 50 feet leaving Logan Circle. Is the road built in the center of the right-of-way? The turnaround proposed, or the one on the, by the fire department, doesn't meet the town standards. Town standards are very clear. It says that you will have a turnaround. There are town standards for turnaround. And does Mr. Lozier, with the increased traffic, plan to do anything to upgrade Logan Circle? It appears to me that down here on this lower corner, there should be a ditch on the land he proposes to give to the town, which will bring down and create a drainage basin down at the corner of Sullivan and Lozier property, somewhere in that area where there's less slope. The property line markers are not in. So when we got up there tonight, we couldn't see anything. Who's going to retain the ownership of the road? Is there going to be a road agreement signed between the owners, proposed owners, and whoever owns the road? Is it going to be a road association? Is there a proposed strip abutting lot, map 11, lot 15, 2A, which contains just under 200,000 square feet, which could be subdivided, and you could have one or two more houses coming out onto this proposed road? Is that going to be allowed, or are we going to get a letter stating that that road will remain privately owned and there'll be no more access out onto Logan Circle? It appears that, like I say, this land down here appears to be too narrow. Those are just a few of the comments that I have.
Okay. I wish Roger was here. I'm sure that he would certainly be willing to sign an agreement that no other houses would be allowed to be used on that. As far as the gradient of the road goes, I don't know what to tell you about that. 3% for the first.
Standard, our ordinance says that all roads shall have 3% grade for the first 50 feet where they intersect with another road. And then it can go to 10%. That road right there now, and I didn't take an instrument out there and check it, but I can tell you that there's probably more like 14 to 16% grade all the way down that road.
They're just trying to make a platform, so when you turn off, you don't immediately go up or you're coming down.
Sure.
Where you got the radius at the bottom of the hill here, you know, it's been the common practice in the past that when a subdivision abutted a road, that the subdivider provided land enough to increase the width of the road to meet town standards. So
The width of Logan Circle?
yes, that the property for this subdivision would step back enough so that it did. Now, I have a real question about who's going to own
On the road.
who's going to own the road and what's going to happen to it. Because once this is done, you know, we've had too many of these cases come forward where after the people bought the houses, there was one up on the West Road where the town of Waterboro ended up, you know,
Sure.
going in and doing work. And it's happened more than once. And, you know, so, you know, I don't like to get into the alternatives. Do they want to put up a bond and continue a bond for so many you know, as long as there's people living up there, or do they want to deed the road over? Right now, it looks like once the property's sold, that the road's going to be unowned.
No, it's going to be retained by Lozier and Son.
The road will be?
That's-
The
yeah,
road will be?
yeah. And they plan on maintaining it as long as they're there. I think it would be a good idea for them to set up, if they decide that they're going to move out of the property, certainly an agreement would have to be made, and with the three parties that would have to chip in on the maintenance of
Wouldn't it be
that
better to
road.
do that ahead of time, and have that set up, so you're
Well,
not
that's
trying to...
something that Roger's going to have to address.
We shouldn't allow a subdivision to go forward without a road association when you have multiple owners.
Right.
You know, because it's like one of these things that always comes back. And I know this is putting you a little bit on the spot, Steve, but, you know, this road thing is...
No, I
is-
understand, I
is-
understand.
always comes back to be something that bites at your heels continuously, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just easier if you form an association and everybody in there pays, and then everybody owns a certain right to the road, because the lot right beside it does have the ability to be subdivided. And they have no other frontage. They don't have frontage enough, as I see it, to have a access unless they come off of this property.
Well,
And, you know,
that's something that we didn't consider, and I hadn't, Roger, I don't think had ever considered that.
but we have to,
Oh, understood,
you
understood.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
quite often, what they'll do is take an additional, you know, it's kind of late now in life, but, I mean, they could do one or two things. I guess they could have a combined agreement, so any one of these people in here own 10 feet of land along the side of that road. That you can call it a spike strip if you want to, you can call it a lot of different things, but it certainly requires that there's no, and then on the subdivision plan, it can say that there'll be no access across that strip of land.
Mhm. Well, I'm sure that Roger's intent is not to have that happen.
Unfortunately, once he sells it, it's out of his control.
Right.
And you know, these people here have concern about drainage. You add one or even two more houses coming off of this, and now you're gonna have another situation, and that comes back to be a problem for the town, so.
Okay.
And this down front here can be an easement that's just granted to,
We did that up on, what was it, Star View Drive, we made them,
yeah,
You know, put
up
the-
on Star Hill.
Star Hill, yeah.
Sky Hill did it, the subdivisions up on, up on Blueberry Road did it,
It's just a,
Elizabeth Cochran did it, I mean, it goes on and on and on, the number of people that have, you know, made the road wide. If you go up on the Ross Corner Road, you'll find there's a stretch of that down through there where the stone walls are, and if you go back 15 or 20 feet behind them, and we was up there doing some road work, and the people come out and like to have a heart attack until they looked to see where their property line was, and they don't own with
just don't
a lot of land that they thought they did have, you know, 30 feet, probably 20 feet, something like that. And so it's better to do that all now, because someday, and actually, when he comes down off of that, he should knock 8 or 10 feet back on his side of the road, at least, because when you come down out of there, you know, it's, with a vehicle of any size, you're using most of Logan Circle to turn, and if another car was coming up over that hill, you know, they're gonna kiss each other, not gonna be pleasant. And then the fire department will have no place to turn around in the middle of the road. So that road at Logan Circle, where it intersects with whatever, Lakeview Drive,
Lakeside,
Lakeside Drive,
not to be confusing with
it's a proposed name that they're proposing, the name for that.
Lakeside Drive, where it intersects with Logan Circle, that should be widened out. And at that, if you widen it back, and it appears to me that right where you got tie line written, somewhere's in there, there would be a place to put, you know, a sump hole, and you could catch your drainage water right there, and it would cure everybody's problem all at once.
Okay, so what you're suggesting is then from the center line, you're gonna be looking at having Roger deed enough land to get you like 25 feet from the existing road.
How wide
For-
is,
for 50.
how wide's Logan Circle?
Oh, it's not very wide. It's about maybe 12 feet.
It's gotta be,
Yeah, but what's the
What's the
right
right
of
of way?
way? First
I
thing-
don't know.
The first thing on our application says, what's the width of the right of way?
Right.
And,
I don't know. I think it's probably a two-rod
Two-rod.
at the max.
so,
It's an old camp road.
but that's something that's gotta be noted on the plan also. That's a good point that Doug brought up.
you know, so if that's the case, he should be giving them, you know, enough land, or this property should be cut back, so there's enough land there to widen that out. Or he could just remove it. I mean, it's, you know, he'd have done way better to sold that gravel and sold that his house lots. But, you know, he's got some nice gravel there he could use up in his turnaround. All he's got to do is haul it up there.
I know.
You know, but that radius, there's, you know, there's not a good radius, there's sight distance and everything is a problem coming down out of there.
Well, he knew that, and he you know, he said that he didn't think it was his responsibility to fix Logan Circle. Now, I don't know if he was referring to the entire length of it, you know, to upgrade Logan
We're
Circle.
not asking for that. We're just, what Doug's
Right.
saying is a right-of-way, a municipal right-of-way, that if the town ever did, you know, if it ever becomes a town road, that there is the ability then to widen that road. Even though it's granted, it's only 173 feet, it's still a section of road that they're not gonna have to go at a later date, meet with the abutters and try to negotiate with them. It's already set aside. You know, for all intents and purposes, Lot 1, the owner's there, could think it's theirs, you know, and the road never gets improved.
So the first thing we need to find out is what Logan Circle actually is.
Well, in some ways, you gotta come up with a width on Logan Circle, either, you know, and then have a 50-foot width, and Roger just donates, and then
Well,
cleans that up.
I would suggest, if the ultimate goal is to afford a 50-foot right-of-way through there, then his responsibility would be 25 feet from the center line of Logan Circle, where it is today. I mean, the only thing that I've got for that right-of-way is that line that I don't know where it came from, with all the bends, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't know where that came from, so...
the deeds for the abutting lots down on the water must have a depth to them.
Yeah, but
But they don't.
You show, Steve,
no, I'm sure they have a depth, but you know, the shorefront property corners and trying to figure that all out might be. I think ultimately, if we use 25 feet from the existing traveled way, from the center of that existing traveled way of Logan Circle, and come up with a land configuration, and we just have Roger deed it to the town. So
Well,
that
this
would give
isn't
you,
town- This isn't a town road.
it is not a town road, that's
The
right.
town has no interest in this road whatsoever.
But that portion from that zigzag line that I've got shown to get you to 25 feet would be that portion that he would deed to the town.
it would just be retained as a right-of-way, right?
I think it would be retained as a public right-of-way, not deeded to
It would
anyone.
be almost like the street extended up, you know, his Lakeside Drive extended up along parallel, so nobody can ever claim that as their private property. That becomes part of the association that's set aside from a lot that's buildable.
Okay.
That
But
they-
it would still be 25 feet from the center line.
I think that's, because I mean, you show in the northwest corner, two markers are found right there, right next to each other.
Yeah.
So we don't know which one is,
Well, that's why I based the subdivision on this previous plan that was done for Steve Caspa, or one of the Caspa, Edna Kaspazak from Survey Inc.
okay.
And I don't know, the one that I found, mathematically, it's the pin that I used is what they used.
All right, do you want to we want to move into the regular planning board section of it.
Yeah, I wanted these things noted because they're all, just things of interest, and we'll discuss more.
Okay. Is there any comments from the public? Any additional comments? No additional comments from the board? I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing and move into our regularly scheduled meeting.
Well, are we going to, we need another public hearing after this. We have another public hearing scheduled tonight. Do we have the site plan?
Oh, okay.
Public
Yeah,
hearing tonight?
yeah, we do. I'm sorry.
So I sit down?
Yeah, we got another. I move that we adjourn this public hearing, and I guess better make it two motions.
Okay. Close the Lakeview one and,
Yes.
Yeah, I'd second that.
all right.
So the motion is to close one and open the other?
No, just to close this one. Be two separate motions.
Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor? All right, so moved.
I move we open a public hearing on the site plan.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Having a second, is there any further discussion? No discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous again. It's at 7:53, we'll open the proposed changes to site plan review ordinance.
I don't think this is, unless we get some public here.
Is there any, are you here for the site plan? All right, having no public here for the site plan review ordinance?
No, I've got no comments.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
Do we can't make any motions, but does anybody have any discussions on that?
I think you raised a lot of points that need to be answered.
I know you had some
And
comments about...
Mostly just on the road, on the right of way. Should have been, what do you depend?
No,
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 this
we're
is
talking
for the
about the site
site
plan.
Site
Do
plan.
you have anything,
Oh.
Frank, to add to that site
Yeah.
plan thing?
No, my one thing I'll add later on.
Well, are we gonna send this to the
Selectmen.
selectmen and then bring it up later and add the changes? I mean, you had a lot of changes,
I had just that one.
technical changes that you
Yeah,
wanted
just
to
the
make.
technical one, I thought we were just gonna send it back as it is, in order to
And
expedite
then we're gonna put some time into coming up with the
Yep.
technical changes that you wanna do.
Yep.
Okay,
That's the only point I wanted to make.
all right. Having no further discussion on the site plan review, Tina, there's nothing on, it's not on the agenda. We could bring it up as old business to forward it to the selectmen? Okay.
We actually had no changes on that, did we?
Not from what was proposed, okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the site plan review ordinance public hearing.
I'll propose we
I'll
close
second
the
it.
ordinance.
Second, having a second, is there any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor? So moved. All right, that closes our public hearings. At 7:55, I will call our August 19th Planning Board meeting to order. We have the following, the 4 members are present for this. Our first appointment is Lakeview Drive Estate Subdivision, which we just had a public hearing for. We also have a letter from the fire chief after reviewing this. The fire chief's letter basically says that along with the town planner, they've reviewed the preliminary subdivision plan for Lakeview Estates that was received. As the road will change from a single driveway to an access road for 3 homes, there needs to be an adequate turnaround for apparatus. We are suggesting a hammerhead-type turnaround at the turn in the road by the second and third lot. The turnaround should be a minimum of 50 feet wide and 50 feet deep. Extra room also needs to be provided for snow storage during winter months so the turnaround does not get filled with snow. Just to be noted, that what the chief has requested for a turnaround does not meet the town standards. It's inadequate in size for the town standards for a road, but we do hear his concern about having a turnaround. The applicant has proposed a location for the turnaround, basically in the turn of the road, mostly on Lot 2. We can get into a discussion now about the sizing of that, and I'll defer to Mr. Foglio.
Well, you know, our ordinance clearly states that you will have a turnaround. And have you seen these, Steve? Yeah. And, you know, what I see, and from what you said in the public hearing, certainly doesn't meet the requirements of the ordinance. I would agree that the road width that's there now would meet it for the 75 feet length, but the radius and the depth back and off there, I think it's not sufficient.
Okay, well, like I said before, the fire chief went up there and looked at it, and I don't know what the discussion was with Roger, but this was after the July 29th letter that you've got in front of you. And I had told Roger that we could probably accommodate enough of a turnaround within the existing 50-foot right-of-way because of where the driveway was built so close to the southerly corner of the right-of-way. And I pointed that out to the chief, and he talked to the assistant chief, and he said that looked fine. That looked adequate for him. Now, whether it meets the ordinance or not, that's something that I guess we could request a waiver on that, because there are only, I mean, it's very, very close to the 600 feet requirement. And I guess if we're going to go by the letter of the ordinance, then it does exceed the 600 feet, but not by much.
Well, to me, it doesn't matter whether it meets the 600 feet. Actually, the board should have been asked for a waiver on the road length because it exceeds the 600 feet.
Okay. Well,
And then, Tina, did we receive anything from the fire chief today after he was here?
No.
The fire chief was unaware that there was a hammerhead ordinance, or a road standard that had to be met. So probably, I would guess that in the future, he would just say that they need a turnaround, and he'll leave that to the discretion of the road review committee and the planning board to come up with what's needed. And I agree, they need something, and looking at the situation up there, and looking at the availability of material, it doesn't look to me like would be much of an effort there to make this thing meet these standards.
no, you're absolutely right. The only reason that I kind of wanted to not do the actual hammerhead was because then I'd have to reconfigure the property lines on, well, depending upon where it went, I guess it'd be on just.
The hammerhead,
lot
all you
3.
gotta do is just give an easement for the hammerhead to be there, that's all, not reconfigure the property lines at all. It doesn't
No, so
take-
it doesn't have to be part of the actual right-of-way.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
take away from the lot, it just simply, you give an easement for this hammerhead to be on that property, that's all.
Okay.
And there's a pretty decent one we looked at, basically it would all be contained on Lot 2.
You know, this isn't anything that I would, you know, it's not taking anything away from Lot 2.
Okay,
And you wouldn't have to reconfigure it, it's gonna be on there, but the owner of Lot 2 would have to give the road association, or whomever,
an easement.
a easement.
Right away.
For what's that?
Whoever owns the right of way.
Whoever owns the right of way. That was another reason for wanting to know who owns the right of way, because whoever does, I mean, whatever portion of this sticks back beyond the edge of the right of way, just have an easement for it, Steve.
Okay.
I mean,
Yep,
that's pretty simple, I think, don't you?
yep, yes, I agree. Now, should I build that easement based on what the fire chief had recommended in that July 29th letter?
I think if you look at this, it's, you know, pretty easily buildable to what's here.
Yeah, we're using the road ordinance from the town. not the chief's recommendation.
Okay, so what I've got shown there, the location is good, you just need to show an easement, maybe extend that out a little bit farther.
Right, it needs to be 50 by 75 for the,
You see where your property line is there on the right? The property line between 2 and 3. Anywhere is right there.
Okay, I just wanted to see what the ordinance says for the width of the surface.
Well, this
I'm just
is,
50.
well, that's the right of way.
Oh, okay,
And
35.
and it's 35, and that's all gravel, and you're gonna leave it gravel. I mean,
Right, right.
all you gotta do is just leave it gravel. Looks to me like it's
But you actually just,
pretty smooth 30 feet there.
that's the hammer there, Doug.
Yeah, but this is what it says to approach it, to get, okay?
Okay.
Down here, you see that it shows only an 18-foot to 20-foot improved roadway.
Yeah.
But here, in front of this here,
Oh, I see, I get what
it
you're doing, yeah.
requires, so the apparatus can come up here and have room enough to
Right,
swing.
right.
See as you swing, how the road narrows right back up again?
Yep, yep.
And, that says it'll be
Taking that.
75 feet.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, given the lay of the land up there, it looks pretty easy.
Oh, no, very easy.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
75 feet in depth and 35 feet in width.
I'm sure we can supply you with
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way it's it's in accordance with the town ordinance on that.
And if you if you wish to propose something not quite as deep as that, and ask for, a waiver on it, then the board can act on the waiver.
Okay. So you're not going to act on what I've already got drawn on the plan?
No.
It's close.
Only in horseshoes and hand grenades.
It's just a little shorter. I think it's 35 feet at the beginning,
Yeah,
but not,
it tapers
The
out.
problem that I have with it is I would more prefer to see it on, where you end up turning around there, if you ever plowed snow, you find it's very difficult to come out making a right-hand turn while you're trying to go ahead. The other one, you pull around the corner, you back around, and when you start out, you're headed right straight up the road. And a piece of fire apparatus, turning around on that corner right there, when they come out and make a right-hand turn, most of them have got locked rear ends in them, you're gonna be skating right around sideways. So if they back around on a nice flat level surface, that's gonna give them the length of the turnaround, plus the road width before they start up that grade.
gotcha.
And there's plenty of room for snow out
And
past that.
at the end of
When
it,
it drops off.
it's gonna drop right off, so we don't have, we don't have a big problem with snow building up back there, because whoever plows it can push it right off the end of it.
Right. Okay.
I'd like to continue on through the list that Doug has of some issues on it. The road grade on it, doing real quick calculations, we've got a 30-foot drop and 378 feet. So we're probably just, it's 370 at the top of the crest, it's 340 right at the bottom, according to the topo lines. So we dropped 30 feet, 378 feet, so we're probably just under 10% slope. But we got to address that first initial 50 feet with a 3% slope, which is going to make the uphill slope steeper.
Steeper, right. Yeah, it's really the first 200 feet that has the steeper
Yeah.
grade, which is
Doesn't go-
actually a little more than 10%.
Yeah,
It's
because
about 12% on the first 200 feet. So you're going to require the first 50 feet to be 3%.
that way if a car's coming down that hill
Yep.
and it's ice, they just don't stop on Ossipee.
Right.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, actually, right where you park, I was looking at that, right where your vehicle parks, right across, yeah.
And I think looking at that site again, there's room, cut and fill in there.
It makes, when you go from a driveway to a private road, now, you, like I said, you have the option to ask for a waiver on any of these things. And,
Well, I'm going to have to talk to Roger about that.
Right. He can ask for a waiver on it.
he can ask, as far as the width goes, I'm strong on believing that we should require additional width to Logan Circle, because when you come down off of there,
The way you turned, I didn't think I could make that turn coming out of there.
we've both got extended cab pickups, and it's tight. Now you get a snowbank on the other side of the road and a snowbank on this side of the road, and I noticed that one car up in there was kind of on the smaller side. So, you know, just with your Beetle, you wouldn't have any problem, but with our, you know, Crickets, we have more problems.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment on that too? I don't know if I'm allowed, but we have seen construction vehicles going in to build Roger's son's house, and they have a difficult time with
Taking that
that
corner.
corner. They can't do it. They actually have to come back in around the other side of Logan to go up.
You know, at some point in time, the residents of Logan Circle are gonna have to give, you know, those big trees are gonna have to go, and somebody's gonna have to give way up there sometime in the future,
Right.
and widen that out to, you know, I would assume someday in the foreseeable future, that'll be a town road.
Probably.
But there's work to be done on it, so, you know, and one of the big problems there is, you talk about this subdivision plan of Edna Kasperzak's, well, her nephew owned a place down the road a little bit, and before he sold it, he wanted to donate some land and widen it out to try to start the process, and then he sold out, so there is some interest up there to do that, so right now, I think it's more than our requirement, I think it's our duty to make sure that this land gets transferred now, or at least set aside now, for future road width improvements.
Can that be said? Do you remember when we did Star Hill Road, was that an easement that we had them create?
Yeah,
Instead of having to actually set aside, it's just an easement.
I believe it's an easement. We could check after tonight, we can go back into that file and find out exactly. Was
I
you
think
on,
it said on the
was you
plan.
secretary then, Tina?
I was.
Was that an easement?
I think it was.
I think it says on the plan, because I did the plan, I think it says reserved for the town of Waterboro, not an easement, but you should check.
Yeah.
There's
There's
an extra
different
15-foot strip down along Avery.
There's the Avery one was the one that was but Star Hill.
Star Hill, there was no, I
Didn't
don't
do anything on
believe there
that.
was anything.
It was that
done.
turn right before John's property there.
Um,
And they also kicked in 60 grand too,
Oh, they did?
to build the road. So the precedent's already been set. That was for 12 lots, that was 5,000 a lot, this is 3 lots, that equates to 15 grand.
Okay.
Okay. What's it going down the?
Now, let's see, the width of Logan Circle we've talked about, the grade of the road we've talked about, 3% we've talked about. I just, for a question, I wasn't sure that the center of the road was in the center of the right-of-way. Do you have any idea about that, Steve?
It's not. It's close, but in the, about 200 feet up the road, it wandered a little bit to the northeast. That's why the ditch ended up being, you know, kind of along the property line.
More into lot one.
Yeah. When I laid that out, I told Roger when the contractor comes to build it, just pull 25 feet off that boundary line, which was well marked, and that'll be the center line of the driveway. And I guess they pulled a little too far,
And then
but it's close.
the turnaround, we talked about that, doesn't meet.
Yep.
And the work to do on Logan Circle, you know, that, I guess you're gonna talk to Roger about that, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Now, did you want him, if we're doing that, and you're going to require Roger to do a little upgrade on Logan Circle,
On the 173 feet that he owns.
173 feet, you mentioned ditching that on that side and putting some sort of detention basin down near the Sullivan property.
Well, it just looks to me like, you know, there's gonna be runoff come down as you're looking up Lakeside Drive. It appears to me there's gonna be some runoff come off of there. And
There
I look-
hasn't been, except for winter, which I haven't observed. I mean, I know I've been up there during big rain events, and the ground is just all gravel. It's just all, it goes
You
into
didn't
the
have it this year,
ditches.
you're not
It
gonna
just-
have it.
But once you plow it and it freezes, there's gonna be a lot of, and it's gonna come down right on the crest of that hill, and then it's gonna go one way or the other, and that hill's gonna become just treacherous. far more treacherous than it was before. So even though it's not a town road, I think we have some obligation to the people that live in there to not increase the severity of their travel.
Right.
So as he cuts that back, I would hope more than 25 feet from the center, but as he could round a ditch around there
Yep.
and run it down, and because of the topo here that I show, and my map is quite small, I prefer the bigger one.
We have a big one. somewhere.
There's the next one, good.
As we look at this, you know, it appears like it wouldn't take too far down there before you could just go back onto lot one and create just a basin there.
Well, I think there's enough room up by the Sullivan piece, that there would be plenty of room within the right-of-way. Or you could put it on lot one, but I would think that you'd want to have it relative, I mean, you have to feed the stormwater into it.
Well, I was
so
just
it has to
thinking a ditch along the side of whatever he widens out, and then dump it off onto lot one, right there into a basin. If you go up and take a look at that one on West Shore Drive, that the town put in up there a little while ago, wasn't a big deal, and they had a huge water problem there, and that's taking care of it. It's worked very well.
Okay.
And, you know, that's such good gravel up there. Once you get out of the travel way, and it stays underneath the snow, you know, that ground's gonna soak that right up like a
Sure.
sponge.
You bet. So do you want it on lot one, or can we fit it right in this?
Well, I think it should, I think you gotta come down here, and you're gonna cut this
All
back,
area.
and I think that
There's
you
no
got,
man's land.
you got room enough, well, time you increase this out here to hopefully 50 feet, then just dump the water right off into a basin right here, and I think you'd find it. He can use all that fill right up here on his turnaround.
he's got plenty of fill.
Yeah.
I know. He's got perfect ground up
See
there.
what I'm saying, Judy? Because this, where that is right there, it's right on the crest of that, and that water's gonna go this way and this way. And this side's pretty good, because it all drains onto this other land over here, but this here is gonna be down here, it's gonna create a problem.
Tina, what did you find about, did you look at that?
It said that they had to deed over an additional 17-foot easement adjoining Avery Road to the town.
Okay. Yes, we don't want to deed it to the town.
Right, you want to just have it as a
Retain as
public,
part of that.
as an easement for a public right-of-way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all.
okay.
And to me, if this is a problem with the lot size, I would have no problem, you know, saying that this easement was still considered in the size of the
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, and we've got
You've only got
2,000
1,900 square feet.
Yeah, 1,900 square feet extra there. Okay, well, that's what we'll do. I'll just show a line on there to be reserved for a public right-of-way.
For your final plan, you need all your property stakes put in. Property markers, right?
I have not done that on previous jobs. I've usually waited until everything's approved in case of changes, but I do know I need to get up there, and Roger's got the rebar. I'm ready to set up.
Well, it was just when we was up there tonight, we couldn't find that.
Yeah, they were flagged. That's why I kind of wish I was up there, because they are flagged.
We saw red flags.
Red, yeah, there were some red flags, and then I think we had put some blue flags up there too. Some of
Okay.
my traverse work was blue, but because I remember asking Roger if those corners were still marked, and he thought they were.
It was just laying on the
Red
ground.
flag just lying
He
there.
got out his GPS gun, and it wasn't within 7 feet of where the width of the right of way was. Probably somebody's throwing them off, throwing them on the ground, but anyway.
Okay.
And then the ownership of the road and what you're gonna do about
Association.
an association.
Yeah, that needs to be resolved before.
Something about the
Depends on what
abutting
to do with that right
property.
away.
Yes.
Accessing the road.
Plan to handle the right away.
Yeah, that's got to be a letter written by Roger,
Yeah,
making
and I'm,
sure that,
yeah, you know, I wished he was here tonight, so you weren't put on the spot, but you know, These are things that gotta,
Better me than him, that's why I'm sure he's looking at it.
but them are good things that's gonna come back and bite his heels later on in life. That's what I had for discussion on it.
All right. Those are all excellent
All
comments.
the things we covered.
Yep. Do you have anything else, Steve, from this section, or do you have information we're looking for out of it?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm all set.
Okay.
Roger will be excited to get a phone call from me tonight.
Now he's watching on TV right now.
Not in Greenville, he's not.
We don't cover Greenville?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does the board have anything else further on this, for this point? Tom?
Just for clarification, the board should request a written letter stating all of the waivers, and I think Doug had hinted to that earlier tonight, because I don't believe there's anything other than some conversation about potential waivers. But there's quite a few waivers, and it'd be good to have that in your file. And also, when you bring it to vote, you'll have a complete sort of checklist of waivers, yet A or nay.
All right, that's a good point. If he doesn't want to do what we're suggesting, then he needs to
Right.
request a waiver.
Put it in.
If it's an ordinance, the stuff we're talking about.
Steve, for
Tom is
convenience of
correct.
the board, is send it to the board, a whole list of the waivers, and they can take them one at a time.
He is correct that they all should be, they have to be in written form. Whatever you want for waivers. But I don't see really too much here. It's gonna require waivers.
Is it, so, would it be possible to approve the preliminary plan at this point, so we go to final? Because this was kind of a preliminary final meeting. And I know we went through a lot of things, we covered a lot, but if we could get preliminary approval, at least we'll only have final approval on the next meeting.
For the preliminary plan, no north arrow, that's been corrected. Swales need to be labeled on plan. I think that's what you've got with the aggregate checks. Contour lines, you've got 2-foot intervals shown on there. Bearing distances, we've cleared those. Provisions for collecting and discharging storm drainage in the form of a drainage plan, which you've shown on this. Lot numbers missing, and building windows shown, those have been corrected. There's a waiver, soil erosion sediment control plan endorsed by York County Soil and Water Conservation District or the Maine Soil and Water Conservation District. That's something you're going to request a waiver on?
I think we did request a waiver on that, didn't we?
Okay. That's just all I have is waiver question mark.
Orally, with that in writing.
Oh,
Okay. Schedule of construction. For that, that's something that's outstanding for preliminary. Centralized mail delivery, you have addressed on here. It's going to be at the intersection of Logan Circle and Weber Road, individual mailboxes.
yeah.
Groundwater, for hydro survey.
That motion, you made a motion to waive,
To make way back. Okay, so that has been approved.
and that's covers 26 and 27 wells.
All right. That, okay, I got that also noted on here. And then August 19th, 1830 hours, bonding. Board determines amount of improvements and bond requires a prerequisite to final approval. So I just need clarification on this for the bonding, because I think that's an issue that ordinance and selectmen disagree on. So, I mean, we can only recommend what the ordinance says, but the selectmen won't approve what the ordinance says, so I'm gonna leave this as an open item, rather than sending you down the ordinance path, and then,
Where are you reading that?
this is on the preliminary checklist,
Oh,
One is fine.
so
yes, I have the,
you have the final.
I don't have the preliminary.
Just so you don't get sent down, we can tell you what's in the ordinance, Steve, you can see what's in the ordinance, but that's a discussion you need to have with the selectmen, because they have not been approving what's in our ordinance, so,
For bonding?
for bonding, so.
What is the requirement? Why is he gonna need a bond on this job?
That's a discussion we can have. It's a private road,
Oh.
it's maintained private.
It's at the planning board member's discretion as to whether or not there is or there isn't. And because there is some confusion about, in the past, planning board having recommended certain bonds for public roads, and the selectmen having a different position on it, I think your suggestion is a good one, Kurt. Maybe this might be a good thing to bring forward when you have your briefing with legal counsel as to how to handle that in the future. Either that or take the performance bonding out of the ordinance, because as it is, there's a typo in that section of the ordinance.
Well, right now, I think the biggest confusion that I have is the fact that we don't have a list, a written list of waivers, you know? I look on the final plan, and I don't see where there's a waiver requested
Anywhere.
for the paving on the road. And, it is a private road, and if we get a document signed and we get a submittal of a proposed deed, and in the deed, it says that this road is on a gravel surface, and it is part of the approval. The ones we've done in the past, a sample deed, and there has to be a sample deed come in with the final plan, right? A sample deed with the final plan, I believe? And when on the sample deed, it will say that this road was approved as a gravel road, and it's not the town of Waterboro's responsibility to improve upon that. And if the residents ever want it improved upon, they have to do it themselves. And I don't know exactly what the wording is that they use, but that's basically what it says.
But that would only be if the road was intended to become a public town right-of-way?
But our ordinance says that subdivision roads shall be paved. And I believe, now I'm gonna have to dig, because, well,
I thought there was something that Patty and I looked at about the number of homes on the road, and that it didn't require paving.
That's in the road ordinance. Here's another, this is something we gotta look at too in a workshop for us later on. But it doesn't give us any ability here in section 7.1.5, not, for on subdivisions, not to have a performance bond or some type of bonding. We don't have the ability to say yes or no on that. It just says, before the planning board grants approval of the final plan, the subdivider shall, in an amount set by the board, either file with the municipal treasurer a certified check to cover the full cost of the required improvements, or he shall file with the municipal treasurer a
it just went
performance
by
bond.
you very clearly. If there's no improvements to be done, then there's no bond. It says to cover all improvements. It's very clear, in my opinion. If there's no improvements...
But with
then
Hammer,
there's
that's an
no-
improvement.
Yeah, but he's gonna have that done before we do the final plan.
Plan.
If he doesn't have it done, then we can ask him for a bond, or we can ask them to put up the designated amount of cash in an
You need to
account.
retain Mr. Foglio as your legal counsel.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Right.
We do these all the time. You either, if the project is done 100%, then there's no bond.
Right.
If it's not done 100% and you feel that it's not going to be completed, and the town's, hasn't made out real good on this believing people, and,
Or people have changed.
people have changed, or they've decided to take a Hawaiian vacation and spend the money. But, if you have the improvements done, in this case, the widening the bottom and whatever's required, and the turnaround bill, then there's no bond. Basically, that's pretty simple.
Right.
You've spent the money, so you don't need a bond. If you don't, then you gotta come up with an estimate, and in some municipalities, they require you to put up a bond of 125 to 150% of the estimated cost of the work. That estimate's derived by a certified engineer, By the time you hire or pay all of that, you might as well have done the improvement, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think it's pretty clear, if he does the work,
Then we don't need it.
then you don't need a bond.
And you're going to require it prior to final approval,
Well, either the work is done or the bond.
or the bond is.
Final approval has, in my time, we've seen that as a two-step process. We have agreed on final approval, but withheld signing and recording until such a time as the road work or whatever improvements were done in lieu of a bond. So you know that everything you've done is right, and when the work is done to a satisfactory condition, the paperwork will be signed.
So it's really not final until it's signed anyway, because then you can't sell any lots.
There's a date requirement, right? We have 120 days.
Yeah, I believe you're right, we put a date requirement on there that you had to have it done
By a certain date.
in a certain amount of time, and then we'd sign, and people, I assume, probably have some unwritten contract to sell the land, and hence they're in as much of a hurry as we are.
Well, I guess the other option on all this is just have Jake live there for another 2 years, and then we won't have to go through a subdivision.
Only for one more lot.
Well, I think it actually, I talked to Patty about that, and because of the right-of-way, and it's owned by both people, I don't know, she said no, you wouldn't require it if Jake had lived there for 5 years, and as long as he was living there at the time.
You only get one lot every 5 years, so I mean, if he split one more lot out.
I don't know where that came from, but
That's not right either. If you live on a piece of land and you own it for 5 years, and you reside on it, then you can sell 2 lots as long as you retain on the third lot yourself.
Correct. As long as you're living on the lot.
As long as you're living,
Yeah.
then you retain ownership of it.
Right.
Right.
If you buy a piece of land right here, it's 15 acres in a 5-acre zone, you build a house right in the dead center of it, you can sell a 5-acre lot here and a 5-acre lot here after 5 years and 1 day. And the other thing is, if he goes through a divorce and his wife
That's out of our control completely.
and his wife goes to court and the judge orders it.
Get 4
then
lots
your-
out of it.
Then your ordinance is defunct because a court order supersedes subdivision
Yeah.
regulations. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's happened to us already.
Yeah,
I
that's-
mean, you can split that lot in half if it doesn't meet zoning, but if the court decrees it, then that's a lot.
Yep.
And that can't be considered as part of a subdivision. If it's court ordered split, it can't be considered as part of a subdivision.
Well, now we've been through all that.
I think we've moved this thing through.
So you're not going to grant preliminary approval?
Well, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I'm going through the checklist there. I mean, it looks like the only thing that's really outstanding is,
Is the bond.
discussion about the
The
bond.
bond issue and these,
But the bond don't come in preliminary
I
anyway.
thought we had addressed that, the soil erosion. That was the other thing that you had brought up, adopted by number 21, soil erosion sediment control plan endorsed by the York County Soil and Water Conservation District.
All we have is it still hasn't, the board has not voted to waive that.
Yeah, boy, I thought they did on the sketch plan. That wouldn't have been on the sketch, okay.
So those two things are still outstanding on the preliminary. Well, we'll hold off on the bond because that's the final, actually. But the York County decision is still has.
Can I officially request a waiver for that right now, so we can approve the preliminary?
I don't see why not.
Number 20, I'd like to do that.
If you want, follow it up with writing, a written request that,
Again, for clarification to the board, Steve can do that, you can vote on it, but just to keep a paper trail in your folders of what waivers were granted. If somebody goes back to do some research on any of these subdivisions without documentation, it makes it real hard. So,
that would be a condition of the motion, is a written request, it follows up in writing.
and Steve, if you will,
If
for the
that's-
board's benefit, list all the waivers for preliminary and for final, because on final, there is a waiver that regards the length of road, because it exceeds 600 feet.
I think the only one that we're outstanding right now, because the other two have already been voted on, so.
But I should list them all
Yes.
Yes, yeah, all your
Just for
waivers
paper trail,
in
Steve.
the letter, okay.
in a summary sheet.
This is only a checklist, to make sure everything's been done.
Right.
And if we sat here without having a list in front of us exactly what you waived, we're wavering. If we approve this, then we're going to be, or you're going to be saying that you will do the necessary engineering that's required on what little drainage needs to be done here.
Mhm. Yeah, I may end up having to do a little blow up because it's getting kind of busy down in that area, but I will go out there and look at it and come up with something on paper that will show on the final plan.
And what we're gonna waive is just going to York County Soil and Water Conservation, which I don't have a problem waiving that on this, subdivision here.
Is that a motion? Or you have to request it?
I did.
Okay.
I did request the waiver.
All right.
So we need to vote on the waiver before we do anything
Yeah.
else.
Is there do we want to take a motion to consider the waiver?
I will move that we waive number 21 in lieu of a plan submitted by, who are you tonight, Steve?
Same person?
Okay, Steve Everett.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you had a company name or not.
no, keep
Okay.
it simple.
A plan by Steve Everett to address erosion and sediment control. That's sufficient?
And that's a letter or a short,
Well, you said you're going to show it.
Narrative?
You're going to write us what you're going to do, then you're going to show it on the plan.
oh, okay, I thought we were talking about two separate things here. I mean, we've got the road widening or improvements on Logan Circle, and I thought this,
But in
This
lieu
is
of
separate.
having
This
this
is-
all go to soil and water conservation, and then later
Okay.
on coming up to soil and water, I'm making a motion that we're going to waive the soil conservation, and you are going to do whatever
Yes.
is required.
okay,
That just says that somebody's going to review the erosion control.
right,
And in this case, it's going to be Steve Everett.
okay,
And that's
my motion.
okay. Yep,
that'll involve details on the drawings.
yep,
Okay. I have the
What you
motion.
do for details and write a letter is a separate issue from the fact that you're going to do it.
right.
Am I confused?
No, I think I understand what you're asking for.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second on that?
I would second that.
Having a second, is there any discussion from the board? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? All right, the waiver is requested, so that brings you through preliminary.
Okay.
We we need to address that as a separate motion for approval of preliminary plan.
I wish that they'd change the name of preliminary to conceptual, because that's all preliminary is most of the time, is pretty much conceptual. Do we agree on the concept that you have here? I say we agree on the concept that you have here, okay? Between now and then, there are a lot of details to work out, or a few details, however you want to figure it. You probably think there's a lot, I think there's a handful, okay? But I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plan
With the discussion.
you know, based upon the fact that we are going to have additional changes that were proposed during the public hearing and during the board meeting. Okay? That covers- You got that? All right, Tina, or did you need
I
it?
got some.
All right, hearing a motion, is there a second on that?
Sure.
Hearing a second, is there any discussion from the board? Having no discussion, all those in favor? So preliminary plan is passed.
Hopefully, this will address some of your issues that you have. Hopefully.
It's not gonna snow this winter, we don't have to worry about it.
As long as it's
Okay.
ice, that's all I care.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Steve. That sets you out for tonight. Gives you a couple things to work on, so you're not bored tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to go a little bit out of order. Well, we have a listening audience on television. Earlier this evening, at a public hearing, we had proposed changes to the site plan review ordinance. This has been proposed by members of the community. It's been reviewed by the selectmen. It's been reviewed by the planning board. I'd like to hear a motion to move that forward to the selectmen for adoption.
I will make that motion.
All right, hearing a motion. Do I have a second on that? Not hearing a second.
I did.
Frank did. Not hearing a second on that. Is there a discussion?
I still have reservations on the nitrate concentrations. I'm sure that I'm in a minority.
What is that?
That's
I mean,
the only thing
okay.
that still concerns me. We've always had it stricter than the state.
Well, I could be concerned about that more on private, regular residential subdivisions than I am on this being basically a totally commercial situation. This is not going to affect the residential portion of our subdivision ordinance at all. Residential subdivisions where you're going to have the consistency of more wells. This is not going to apply there. And I feel that being on the committee that recommended this, I shouldn't second it. So I think Judy's, got some concerns, and I don't know if that eases her concerns at all or not. But, and I understand the concerns that people are having. I've always had a hang up on the nitrate that we have, because I think it's extremely,
Restricted.
yes, I believe it is.
I will second the ordinance.
I was gonna
Okay.
say you could.
I'll second the ordinance. So hearing a second, for discussion on it, I think the ordinance is a step in the right direction. I think we need to still do a lot more work on that, but I think it moves us in the right direction. It's the right thing to do for the town at this time, but the board needs to also set up a workshop to discuss a lot of things that have been brought up by the board as changes to bring it into today's standards and to clarify it with the other ordinances in the town. So having a second, having a discussion, We have a vote on the vote to send this to the selectmen for adoption. I have 2 for it, 2 against. So,
You're not against, you're abstaining, I would
I'm
imagine.
abstaining,
Okay.
okay? And only because I just feel if I was on there, I wish there was more board here, because if there was more, I would vote one way or the other, but, you know, I don't want to,
jeopardize it.
no, I don't want it to, you know, take the appearance that, you know, that I'm doing
So
this.
can we at this stage table it till the next meeting and we have more?
Well,
people
if I
that puts it off,
abstain,
though?
it's 2-1.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
fine. And I think we should move it on.
You know,
Now, Judy, is the 1 vote against? Do you want to make a comment on that?
Just that I'm still
For the
concerned
nitrate.
about the nitrate. That's the only thing that concerns me. I think everything else is just fine.
Okay.
this, we'll send it to the Board of Selectmen, at which time they'll hold a public hearing, and it can be discussed there. Again,
Okay, that checks off that. We also have some minutes of previous meetings, July 29th. I was not present at that meeting. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 members, we don't have a majority.
Table it.
Yeah, I'll table that one. The second one is August 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have enough to that one. Any questions on that one? Has everybody seen that one? Take a motion to accept that?
Accept them, as written.
If I hearing a motion, is there a second on that meeting?
I'll second
Accept. All right. Take a motion, any discussion on that? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of adopting the August 5th meeting minutes? So be it. All right, that gets signed. That one gets postponed. We have a couple communications. These concern Bartlett Pine subdivisions. Just that they've been received by the board. Both of them are from Frank Boudreau. Both of them were received on August 19th. I don't think there's anything else we need to just do on that.
I'd like to note, if you look at the letter from
Which one?
Goodrow, is there more than one letter from him?
Yeah, 2
Yeah,
letters,
2.
yeah.
Two.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have them both, okay.
Yeah.
One a week ago.
I have the
When
one,
he came in the office on the 12th, we gave him this procedure for abandoning a subdivision, which he then gave back to us with his letter August 19th,
19th,
but
okay.
didn't do any of the work that's involved. To abandon a subdivision, you're supposed to have a document that can be recorded at the Registry of Deeds
Right.
saying that it's going to be,
We have an unused town application attached to the letter.
it's a state application, but yes.
Okay. So there's nothing we can do on that until we receive the application.
oh, I don't have that.
That's this one.
Which one?
But he didn't, nothing's filled out on the application.
Yeah, that just came in today. It should be in your folder.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I thought I had everything, I didn't pick up the folder.
Yeah, this just came in, he dropped it off today.
Well, this August, I'd like to just make
Okay.
note to the public that this letter dated August 11, 2008, may not have been 2008, it might have been 2009, but if it was, he'd been a year plus trying to decide what he wanted to do. Either that or he's confused.
It's good because it took us a year and a day to receive it then.
Well, that's, if you'll notice, it's received on there, and I just thought it would be nice if everybody realized that that wasn't the case. It hasn't been sitting around here, I don't believe. Tina had it stuck in the file.
He makes mention of a letter sent on August 6, 2009, so.
Just thinking ahead. Yeah.
The other thing is that there may be procedure for abandoning, I believe that's what they call it, a subdivision, but I think that we should at least go through the written paperwork on that before we abandon it, to see if it has any effect on anything that was supposed to take place within the bounds of the town of Waterboro. Was access to this subdivision through Waterboro? Was anybody else affected beside this person? If we abandon this, is that going to mean that somebody's not going to have a clear cut right away to their property? I don't know. I've never seen anything about that. I really believe that we should review all that before we just up and say, yeah, we're going to abandon it.
I agree.
He's in a hurry to build him a new driveway. Well,
We don't even have the application from the applicant.
so, Tom, I think this is your paper here. This one yours? Yes, sir.
I think Tina, we need to send a letter back to him, asking him to have to actually formally apply for that,
Before we put it.
before the board makes any decision on it.
Does Tom have anything to add to that?
He looks like he does.
Pardon me?
Do you have anything to add to that?
to it? Well, the other thing is, once you get clarification on what the current plan is, I would think that all the people that were part of that subdivision would have to sign off on it.
Right?
So that's yet another layer to this whole thing.
See, the thing this is the third phase of a subdivision, too. Yeah.
Phase 2 is still active.
Right. So,
And technically, he is Phase 2 had his lot as a big lot, and Phase 3 divided his lot into 3 pieces. You remember, we went
Yeah.
through the alignment plan board with that. And so therefore, he's still a single lot in Phase 2.
right.
Yeah, that whole, that is not always worked out the best up. Things didn't always go the best up there, okay, on this whole scenario of subdivisions up there. In previous offices, when I was in a different position in town, we had a very large amount of problems with this whole thing, and I don't want to see any of that resurface. I think we've got to look that all over good before we just say, and it may be fine. It may be just a question of having him get everything filled out and passing it on to us, but by the same token, I would hate to see work undone that was agreed to be done. I would hate to see somebody not have a way onto their property or something, and we don't know this until we get it all out and the documentation that goes with it. It's my opinion.
I think we all agree on that.
Are you looking to do that before he fills out the application even?
No, I think after he fills out the application, we should have a workshop, because we got a lot of things to discuss, and we should just have a workshop with a bunch of things on them, and we'll set it up for a couple hours some evening, and at the end of 2 hours, we'll set up another one.
We did look at it. So as soon as we have a complete application from him, then we can discuss it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't think we should do anything till we have an actual application filled out and signed by him. And we have a letter, but it isn't an application for dissolvement. He says the whole thing's in the town of Lyman, and I know that they had considerable issues
Yes.
before, so.
All right, we have one other communication, Jensen Bard Gardner and Henry's Municipal Client Seminar on Wednesday, September 30th. This is their biannual freebie.
I think they're supposed to send additional information, that was just kind of a heads up.
Okay. This is all the new laws by the 124th Legislature. They go into effect on September 12th. So, do we just have to let you know, Tina, if we want to attend that? How does that Do we RSVP
When I
it?
see what the registration information is, I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy.
Okay. Yes.
One other communication. Doug had recommended at a previous meeting that it would be good to see if we could sit down with legal counsel. And I think, Doug, one of the things that had surfaced was correct procedure for having public hearings, times, dates, etc. I followed up on that and spoke with our legal counsel. The town has one free meeting, a pro bono for 2 hours. The town hasn't used it, and it can be used on October 21st if the board would so like. Natalie Burns and Ken Cole said they would come to your meeting. If you could possibly start it, they had asked to see if you could start it for around 6:30, because they said they'd give you 2 solid hours. Doug had also recommended, which I think is a great idea, to pre-think. Doug calls them thought lists or question lists of questions you might want to ask them. If
Oh,
you
we gotta
don't,
do that definitely.
Before.
if you don't give
Yeah.
them those questions beforehand, it'll be more of a canned presentation, and they'll be talking about right to know law, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a good chance to ask them some really good questions. So if the board would like to individually or collectively make a list of questions, I'd be happy to get those over to Ken or Natalie.
I mean, I'd like to propose that we block that date out right now. We take the date, and then we have sufficient time to get a workshop, that we can get a workshop, sit down, and just, we can brain think it, and then get them a list ahead of time.
We get a list.
So,
Well, I think that one question, came up tonight, and if Tina could take a note and start a list, of questions, is one of the questions that come up tonight was bonding. My question on bonding is, how do we correct the performance of the bond once it's required and set? There is no procedure in this town, and it's one of the big reasons I have for disliking our procedure for bonds, is because once you put a bond in place, there is no tracking mechanism in our ordinance. The planning board has absolutely zero control over it. The town planner has zero control over it. The code enforcement office has zero control over it. The only persons that have control over it is the legislative body, which is the Board of Selectmen. And we need to correct that procedure so that if we do require bonds, that somebody follows up on them, because we can require a bond, it can lapse in 12 months, because they're usually written on specific times, and nobody knows it. The bond lapsed, and the people just go, ho, 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 I put a bond up, and 365 days later, you're out of luck. The bond elapses. So, we need a...
That's a good question for him, because there may be a legal reason for limiting it to the selectmen.
There may be, but
There may be.
if then our ordinance should say that the selectmen must designate somebody to act on this,
Someone
right?
follow through on it, yep.
Because this is what has happened to us in the past, Frank.
Yep.
Several bonds have, and we've also used letter of credits,
And had them, I know.
and
remember
they
some of
have either been recalled by the bank or failed to re-up them, and building permits continue to be issued. And another question is, following the conditions placed by the planning board on whatever. When we issue something with conditions, then once we get done with it, we're done with it. And if it's not a code violation, then the code enforcement officer doesn't do anything with it. So hence, I would just assume, and maybe wrongly so, that some of this stuff is going to be passed on to the town planner. But we don't have that. These are all things that we lack, and all things that you know, if we're gonna have, you know, the position, Tom, you know, then these things need to be addressed and need to be, you know, added into the ordinance in proper language.
Complete process.
That's right, to complete the process.
Board members, is it okay if I lock that in with the attorneys?
Yeah, and just,
21st, starting at 6:30, that's their third Wednesday of October.
that gives us, I mean, that gives us 7, 8
Weeks
to prepare for that.
Exactly. The other thing is that Ken Cole had asked if the board would mind if we could invite the zoning board of appeals members too, because he felt that would be, you know, appropriate for them to hear some of it too.
That makes sense.
Because they will have a certain presentation they're going to make in addition to your Q&A session.
Makes sense, all right. Everybody, you know, more people, I mean, even to the Board of Selectmen if they want to. I mean, I think it's for our question, that's the only thing, I don't want it to be dominated.
It would be
Because we have interests that are different from the other.
It would be your meeting, but other people could be invited, but you would be the
Right.
ones running the meeting with Ken and Natalie.
Well, you know, just to keep it on the, we should notify the Board of Selectmen that this is going to take place. And, you know, if they
Yeah.
wish to attend, they can attend as, you know, it'll still be our meeting. And then all the committee chairs, we should, you know, ask them if any of them want to come. You know, something could come out of this, it's good for everybody to know, and, you know, opens the doors of communications within the town hall here, which is probably could use some opening. So if we invite everybody to come, then it, you know, it's up to them to whether they want to.
You know, I mean, the only condition, the only thing that I'd be concerned about is that the Board of Selectmen, our concerns get addressed first. That way, if we get to the end of the 2 hours, you know,
2 hours goes by fast.
Fast,
After
yeah.
attorneys and
I think that,
Do we get to ask before they get
I think that the way that the notice goes, and we should send a notice, a written notice to these people, even the Board of Selectmen. And it should say that the Waterboro Planning Board is going to hold a meeting with the town attorneys to discuss legal issues in our various ordinances. And you are cordially invited to attend these to hear the questions and the responses from the town's legal counsel.
I think that's a good letter right there.
Got that all set, Tina?
Yep.
You know, that's just,
I do.
that's
No
some
doubt in my
idea
mind.
what ought to be said, and that kind of sets forth the idea that we're going to ask the questions, we're going to get the answers, and they can, you know, I mean, of course, I think we should at least set aside the last half an hour for questions and answers, and we could put that right in the letter. We will reserve a half an hour at the end of the meeting for questions and answers from other committee, from the Board of Selectmen and other committee members.
Okay.
That reasonable or unreasonable?
It's reasonable.
You know, an hour and a half of our time?
All right. That covers the agenda items that we have for tonight's meeting. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?